to therapy and did a clearing over being recorded.
Hi, Michael.
Oh, hi,
Hi,
you
Michael.
beauties. Oh, how lovely. Oh my God.
I was just telling Gigi I found a non-dual humor, and they're all funny. And it says it was a monk staring at two signs, and one's pointing one way saying "find yourself," the other one's pointing the other way, "lose yourself." And he's like, "Fuck."
Oh my God. Find yourself, lose yourself.
No,
Oh,
the dilemma of and it was so cool. There's this young lady that I was friends with. You remember My Three Sons?
of course, yes.
Her dad was Don Grady.
Really?
Yeah, and she's in her late 20s now. She was friends with my kids when I homeschooled them back in California. I'm in North Carolina now. And can I read this to you?
Of
She
course.
wrote a cool thing. She said, there is a frequency you can live within that transforms every sensory perception into a direct expression of God, all experience revealing its true nature. When I glimpsed this, I glimpsed the infinity of it. What we call reality has always been this way, this play of energetic expression swirling in total and complete freedom. For me, nothing since has held a candle to that total and complete freedom. I received an invitation to try setting down my ideas of myself. In exchange, I could touch this true freedom, living as what I truly am, gaining access to dimensions where at first my mind could only comprehend things through the definition I held of the word magic. I'm only just beginning, but I'm already seeing how many others are craving this homecoming, coming back to who you are outside of this video game that you so beautifully graphic design for yourself each moment, coming home to freedom. And the last one is, from my experience, it's like the exhale taken after hundreds of years of holding your breath.
Wow.
She's 28.
Yeah, that feeling of release, some people evidently experience with religion or the idea of God. It can be very profound.
Sounds like she's having some kind of experience with this
Oh, yes.
that which we cannot name.
I think from my perspective, or this perspective, it's not my perspective, from this perspective, that when we attribute it to a source outside, say God, there is a tendency to hook into that. That tends to become the center and not the centerlessness. It seems to me a plateau to rest on. And some people will spend their life there, I think. This morning I was going to talk about the ultimate emptiness of this. Oh, look here. I think in the future, I'll start this meeting, but in the future, other people will be leading or starting the meeting with their unique perspective. I think this is something I'd like to try, is to not have a leader or an imagined leader as such, but to have each person speak of their unique world, of their perspective of this. And granted that all perspectives are illusory, by definition, any objectified perspective is nothing but the world of things in different configurations. Oh, here's Karen. We'll start for a while. We won't start for a while to see who. Oh my goodness. Probably 5 or 6 other people said they were coming, so we'll wait for a while. But I love what that young lady wrote, especially at 28. Very insightful. I think there may come a time, or not, when the idea of even God will slip away. And somehow this beautiful brain-body complex, whatever we want to call it, it dawns that it is the center of a unique universe of objectified perspectives, of objectified perceptions, self-referential, swirling memories from probably in utero up to the present. Here's Raja and Sarah. Sarah, I've been trying to say that name. That we are so unique and so individual. Somehow I see language as our connection, our only connection, really. It is a window out of the, oh, here's Wendy, Raja. Language is the window or the eye cloud out of which we all create, or all of our sense of selves are created or fabricated. Again, these are just words, and words are part of the objectified overlay. So what we're really doing is sharing stories. Our stories are unique and beautiful. And this morning, I kind of wanted to go into the deep end, into this longing that we all feel, this loneliness, this aloneness that some of us are more aware of, and those in whom it has reached a certain point become seekers. We want something to relieve the loneliness. I think this brain sees life as longing. Everything longs. Trees long for the sunlight, they stretch up to the sun. Sentient organisms long for those things that fulfill its mandate to survive and reproduce. Hi, William. We are that longing as personas. We are that longing plus an objectified longing. This longing for love and happiness, things that exist only as ideas. We can never be happy. Happiness is just an idea. It doesn't exist. Everything we see is an idea. Everything. We live in a world of ideas. This longing, I see as intimately connected with love. Love is a longing. We long for companionship. We long for a release from this aching loneliness. I felt it ever since I was young. I thought it was because of the terribly dysfunctional family I grew up in, and I never felt loved. Excuse me, my wife will get that. My father never said he loved me, and I never really wanted him to. He was a violent alcoholic. My mother was an enabler. She put up with this violent alcoholic for years. So I longed for this love, for this closeness. Many years later, it dawned that we all are that longing. Everything human being does is a successful or unsuccessful attempt to find love. There can occur a catharsis, a crash. It can be an event, or it can occur over time, in which the sense of personal identity gradually loses its relevance. Many seem to stop along a certain point, and that becomes their plateau. Some will venture on. A few will venture on into the emptiness. It's ultimate, devastatingly empty when it dawns that nothing actually existed or ever has existed. There's no mountains or rivers or oceans. There's no such thing as chairs and tables. It can reach a point where everything is gone. Everything we thought we loved is now seen as an idea. Tim Kliss talked about the death of his father at the last meeting, and it was devastatingly beautiful. His father died of Alzheimer's, and he saw his father gradually disappearing, his loved, beloved father. And slowly it dawned that his father had only been a group of memories in his head, that he didn't exist at all. Terribly painful. For a person who has the insights of Tim to experience that. Most people go through the pain of losing a loved one, and it's terrible. Alzheimer's is awful to go through. But he had the deeper insight of realizing it was an old man, and that he had created the idea of a father that wasn't true at all. He never knew his father, only as a group of memories. And that's what we are to each other. We're a group of memories. I see Rita, and I see Dubai, and 84 floors up. I see Raja. We went through the death of her husband together. I see Bill, the memories of him coming here for a visit. Sarah, remember for many years now the memories I have of her. All of you seem so utterly, unspeakably beautiful. But you're a group of memories to me. Warm. Oh, Gigi, nice to see your face. Colorado. See.
Oops. I didn't mean to turn my camera.
what happened when I saw Colorado as a proof of memory. I went to school in Denver. We got farmed off to an aunt, and I went to school in Denver, and it was 3% white. The school was, and two little kids from Wyoming going to a almost all black school. It was a cultural shock. Those are memories. When I see Gigi's name from now on, I'll see Colorado. I'll see her smile and the beautiful painting behind her. Is that your painting, Gigi?
No, it's actually a very colorful shower curtain.
Oh, it's exquisite. It should be a painting. All of those are memories that are starting to percolate through this beautiful brain that becomes who you are to me. The more I know you, the more filled in you become, the more character you take on. That's the character that I love. That's the only one I can ever have access to. That's true of my grandbabies and my beautiful son, who I absolutely adore. He's a memory, lots of memories from the time he was born, high school, college, laughter, wrestling, boxing. That's what he is to me. When we lose someone, we lose those memories. We don't lose the memories, but we lose the idea that the person is gone, but the person never existed. That's just a hard one. To see our friends is nothing but our stories about them. And they are stories about themselves. The loss of love is the loss of the mirror that we orient ourselves with. The mirror is gone. The memories remain. In a way, the person is as real as they ever have been. And that's so hard to see, especially in the depth of loss. We live in two worlds, the imaginary and the actual world, where people do die and they are missed. Ramesh mourned his dead sister. The Surgadata was kind of glad when his wife died, because he was always saying, Maori, do this, do that. He didn't miss her. Most of us miss our dear ones. And that happens too. But there can come the realization that they were always and only a memory. That seems to happen after the fall, after we go through the desert of knowing that nothing exists, that we are ultimately alone in the universe. Individually, we are alone in our fabricated conceptual overlay. And in mass, we are alone in the universe. There's no reason to suspect humans exist anywhere else in the universe. If there is life on other planets, which may be, I don't know, we'll never know. The distance is too far. Light years away. Hundreds, thousands of light years away. The distance that light travels in a second. Times a year away. Somehow this loneliness can settle in. And it's devastating. But out of that, devastation can come this most profound love, for lack of a better word, realizing that other human beings also feel this. Most of them don't deal with it. Most of them find ways to hide. I hid it for years with drinking. I no longer try to hide it. But there is this incredible love for other humans, everyone. I don't care who it is. In a way, I see the Palestinian struggle, the pain, and the anger. I can't justify brutality in any case, but I relate to their pain. I relate to the Jewish pain. I relate to the human pain. I see toddlers and I watch them as fresh, bright innocence. And I see all people that way. I think Alcoholics Anonymous taught me that. I sponsored men and women in AA, and the stories you hear on the 4-step are all pretty much the same. Looking for love, feeling guilt, shame, burdened with this bloody tear-stained sheet that we drag around. I am so awful. If people knew me, they wouldn't love me. Come to find out, the more they know, the more they love us, the more they see our humanness. The more I talk about my experiences as an alcoholic, the more people relate to me and love me. We don't exist without each other. You put a human being on an island and they gradually become insane. The movie where he paints a tennis ball with a face. There's a series called Alone where they place men and women in a very isolated area and they have to survive, sometimes through the winter. And lots of them can survive. They're survivalists. They can find food and shelter, but after about a month, things start to come apart. And after 2 months, they start to go a little bit crazy. We need each other. We are each other. Without each other, we don't exist at all. Without these shared memories, we're nothing. That's the love that I'm talking about. When I see your names, just a little while after I know you, I get a heart rush. It's like I only tried marijuana twice and I really liked it. But that rush you get, whoa, it feels like that. Not quite that strong, but it's close. I see your name and the memories rush back in and the person forms in my mind. And the more I see you, like I said, the more it fills in. And it's just my memories, but they're all good. I don't have any bad memories with anybody here. Even the people who get really mean with me, they're what I call the no-brainers, the people who don't believe that there's such a thing as a brain. And they really dig in their feet and they really get firm. But I love them. They're just a story. And they're right. There's no such thing as the brain. But gray jelly does have a physical counterpart. Oh my. Does anybody relate to the loneliness? I'm going to do what Tim Kliss does and stop talking. And there's a little icon down below where you can raise your hand. if you'd like to share. Tim does something, he just waits. He'll wait for 5 minutes sometimes. And I like that. I go to his meetings and enjoy them too.
I can't seem to find that little waiver thing. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, I can. I can. Nice to see
Clearly, you can hear what I'm saying?
I can, of course.
Yeah, I can't find that little thing to wave your hand, but so I just started talking.
Wonderful.
Yeah, about relating to that loneliness. I love dearly being alone from everybody for long periods of time. And when I was younger, I would get lonely really quick, though. Now I can be alone a lot longer, but we are each other. See, that's pretty clear, and I think everybody has. Human beings have different abilities or characteristics as to whether they can they need to be with people all the time or not. So it's just different, I think, with different people. And but I think what I relate to what you said the most is that we are each other. We are each other for sure. That's because nothing really can be separate ultimately, even though a separation occurs. Well, I guess we all know that somehow. Yeah. Well, thank you, Michael, for letting us talk.
Thank you. It's nice to see you, my friend.
Yeah.
Karen, you have your hand up.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
It's Karen Langley here. And I messaged with you this week about something you said in Tim's class, where you were talking about how therapy can actually be helpful. And I appreciate that because I too have done a huge amount of both spiritual practice and therapy practice, trauma release practice because of complex post-traumatic stress disorder. As a result, in my case, it was my mother who was extremely, well, we'll say narcissistic to make the term popular, but abusive. And so the longing for me has come out of, it seems as though the longing has come out of just such a primal feeling of never being held, never being loved, or if being held or loved, that it was an abusive situation, or certainly lacked tenderness. And so I'm 70 years old now, and I have a good solid 50 years of what I'd call, I want to say, dysfunctional relationships. I mean, I have to include in there the marriage that gave me two adult children that I love and a grandchild, but mostly this seeking. The seeking has been through both either human relationships or spiritual seeking. And I was a Course in Miracles student for 30 years, and I gave that up 2 years ago, and immediately after discovered Jim Newman and Tim and Tony Parsons. And it was the only thing that made sense to me after my own really long journey. And I just wanted to add that, Michael, you said something about everything is longing. And oddly, when I was in my 20s, I had two, which I can only call revelatory experiences. One of them, and neither one lasted for more than a few weeks, but one of them showed me the absolute unconditional love of God. That, unconditional love is something we can't even really grasp with our human mind, but it for sure lacks complete and total judgment against or for anything. But the next experience showed me, oh, I just lost it. It was so good. Anyway, the first experience was like a revelation of what love is. And the second experience was like a revelation of what people mean when they talk about light, the inner light or the outer light or the light of God. And it was in that one, I remember now, where I saw everything, absolutely everything. It was funny because it happened when I first woke up in the morning, and I was naturally got up to go to the bathroom and saw this in the carpet fibers and saw it in the toilet paper roll and in the shower curtain. It was that everything contained within everything, there is a praise, praise, going on, like a praise to what we'd call God or the divine, and versus the longing. And it was so stunning to have that for a couple of weeks switched around for me from the longing to that everything, like when the trees are reaching to the sky, they're actually praising. And it was odd, but it was also lovely. And both experiences not only were called lost, but started the seeking. Because once you see or feel these things, it's impossible to not want them 100% of the time. And then that longing just became, I'll say, deeper and deeper and worse and worse in some ways, because, as Tim and others teach us, the more we seek it, the more we're missing it. It's like right in front of us, right all around us. It's within us, around us. It's everything, everywhere, at all times. And so that's the trap I got caught in. And for me, the stopping has been like a 2-year slowing down. There was a cataclysmic moment of realizing I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. I don't even know what it is I'm doing, but I can't do it anymore. So anyway, I'm just joining today, and I told you, on Facebook that I was appreciative of you coming in defense of therapy for some people, because I think without it, I don't know where I'd be without some of the trauma therapies I've had. Just like some of my friends who had to go through recovery programs, whether it was Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever. It's like these things do take us somewhere. They start to, they begin a journey for some of us. And I would say that my trauma and my need to heal it did that for me. My longing to heal it did that for me. So that's all. Thank you for letting me share my story. I know I'm new here, but I can take my hand. I can mute myself now, except with the screen froze for a second. So,
thank you, Karen.
thank you.
Yeah, I was so messed up. I was post-traumatic stress and panic attacks and depression and everything. So my therapy was a fairly long ordeal. One of my favorite therapists was a little lady in a wheelchair, and This was before they had a name for panic attacks, long before. And I would wake up in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning and think, oh my God, it was terrible. I wanted to die. Those of us who have panic attacks will relate. And I thought, oh my God. And they came back. They would always at 3 o'clock. So I started not liking to go to bed in that bed, and start not liking 3 o'clock and all the things we do to avoid and survive. So I went to therapy. It hurt so badly. And one of the first, well, actually the second therapist I went to was this little crippled lady. And I was telling her about what happened to me. She's listening and listening. She said, oh yeah, those are panic attacks. I have them too. I said, really? And about half of the, whatever it was, the angst disappeared, because I thought, oh, somebody else has these. And when she was a little girl, her mother would throw her around and get drunk and throw her around the room by her hair. This little crippled girl in a wheelchair, and because the mother couldn't find a husband or a man that would stay with her because of this little crippled girl. And so we spent a year crying and laughing together. And I still love her, Teresa. And other therapies I went to. After years of therapy, my son had gone to college, and I was laying in his bed in the middle of the night. I had missed him so much. I would go in there and fall asleep and cry because I missed him so much. I love him, still do. And smell his pillow and look at the trophies. And around 3 o'clock in the morning, I think I had a dream, a very realistic, realer than real dream, where I was being molested violently. And all I could do was say, Mommy, Mommy. And no one came. And I woke up in the morning and I felt a finger stroking my face. I thought, oh, isn't that nice? And I woke up and it was my finger. I was soothing myself. And I thought, well, that explains a lot. This panic, this helplessness, fear, pain. And I thought, well, I'll never tell anyone about this, because a child will feel shame before this, somehow it's their fault. And I told my wife, and she started to cry. And then I told my son, and he cried. And that's when the healing began. But it was after a long time of therapy and introspection and Alcoholics Anonymous and adult children of alcoholics. Oh my God. A lot of love, a lot of people who held my hand and loved me and laughed and cried with me. I believe we are natural born healers. We heal. If given half a chance, the body heals itself. We just take that for granted. The mind can also heal itself. I think the ideas of God, that these complete love, this intensity, this warmth, this thing that people feel and think is God, I see that as the brain. I see God, the only creative force in the universe. The most magnificent creative force in the universe is us, is the brain. Now, the kingdom of heaven is within. The Father and I are one. Ye are gods. All of this is pointed to in the Bible. Ye are gods. The Father and I, me, are one. If we think it's God outside of ourselves, we're still in the fractured world. When we see it's all us, our whole thing, this world is us. We are it. There's nothing outside of us for us. It's this closed loop. Hofstadter has a wonderful book, says, I am a mysterious closed loop. I am I am something closed loop, mystery. Something, I heard a bell. um, it's a self-contained world. I talk about in the nighttime dreams, where does the light come from? It comes from the brain. In the daytime light, in daytime, you are the light of the world. Everything you look at and see has a name, your name. Your tree is different than my tree. Your river is different than my river. Your love is different than my love. It's your world. It's your named place. And oh, look at it, so beautiful. Raja, you have your hand up.
I was just enjoying that, Michael. And then you had to stop. Yeah, I look at people and I just think like, why am I so like, I don't know about, yeah, I do feel lonely lots of times. I feel that aloneness. And yet, I mean, you can be in the middle of a crowd, like, and then you just feel so alone, like you cannot, you cannot share this with another human being. You cannot do that. And you cannot even say to someone how you feel because it's so hard. How do you share something that others cannot perceive? They can't see your world. They don't know what it feels like to want to crawl into yourself. It's the hardest thing to be like this. And then you know that you have a purpose, that there is a purpose. There is some purpose for this life. We're not going to just be born like this for no reason at all. And that purpose is why we are here. And no one's ever going to know how I am or what I am or who I am, except me. And I love like this, day in and day out, not knowing, not finding anyone that I could talk to or say things to that I really feel deep down inside of me. And I think that's what it's all about. It's being authentic and saying that I don't know, I just don't know who I am and what I am and where I am supposed to be and what's my purpose. And all these things that I do, am I doing it the right? Am I doing the right thing? You know, it's just, that's the thing. You never know. You're never gonna know. And then you come out of it and think there are people out there that you can talk to and share with, and it's just a superficial world. It's just that it's never going to be that gift that we want from another person. Sometimes we find it in one other person or two other people, but that's it. The world around you is just passing by. It just passes by. It's like a flip. That's about as deep as I can get. I can't. If I have to go even more, I probably will end up crying. And yeah, but that's, I'm never gonna know whether I am, I have a purpose. But I mean, obviously there must be something that's the reason why we are here. And whether another person can see this, I mean, like I said, that's impossible. I can't. There's certain times I feel that there's nothing, there's nothing I can say to another person about this. Like today I was chatting to my brother and I was wondering, hey, what am I going to do? Like he was saying a whole lot of things that I was just thinking to myself, what do you say? You can't find the words. But somehow here the words come. So probably there's a difference. But anyway, I love all of you and thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Raj. As long as you think you have a purpose, you will look for what you will seek. You will
Hear me?
try to find out what it
But
is.
that's the only thing that keeps you alive is thinking that
No,
probably there's some purpose.
no, you have no purpose. No one has a purpose. What's the purpose of the moon? There's no purpose to anything. Purpose is a mental fabrication. We like to think we have a purpose or meaning. There's no meaning to your life. There's no meaning to you. Mostly because you don't actually exist except as a coagulated collage of swirling memories, a phantom, hologram that emerges in the reflected light between others. You have no reality at all. How could you have a purpose? There's no self. It doesn't exist. I amness is an illusion. How could it have a purpose? It's possible, and some brains do fall into a purposelessness, one with a world with no meaning, no footholds, no handholds. Bill, would you like to talk?
I would.
Uh,
First of all, I wanted to say hi to you from Barb. I think she thought I was going to see you when I was up in Cayucas earlier,
oh,
and so I want to convey her love for you as well as mine.
you sweet.
What tripped that off was Alone is her favorite show. You know, she has a lot of media up in her situation in Canada, but that's her favorite show. She gets certain lyrics in songs resonate with her, fall so deeply, and she conveys them to my daughter-in-law, who does these kind of woodworkings. And one of them she didn't take with her back to Canada, but it's sitting here. I just pulled it out after you spoke to that. And it's a lyric, and I can't remember. It's an English songstress. Do you ever feel like you're all alone and you're surrounded by the people that love you the most, and you can't explain it because they won't understand? And then Raja points to that. And yet, somehow, in our sharing here, you know, I do NVC empathy buddy work. We get close enough in our common experience that it lands in a similar way and we recognize it. So I have that. I have a friend up in Canada, another in BC this morning. I had an empathy buddy call with. And we were talking about the difference in the change of form in relationships, particularly in marriages and love, erotic relationships that are, forever change into something else. And how the ability to stay in the essence of love, that love, while the form changes, is an amazing experience, and at the same time an amazing discipline. It's like Buber carrying around intimacy as a quality of being, that kind of availability that we all have at times to let another in and to grok them, to get them just as they are, without that having them to change or be any different than they are, or whatever, just like let them land for you. And that has proven to be a particular blessing in my life. So while I went through my back and forth with my parents around abuse, neglect, and nurture, and sometimes didn't know what was coming next, now, over the last several years, I've been able to just let them be as they are, complete in my memories, which is obviously terribly incomplete from what their actual experience of their lives was. But to get over there with them, even though they're both dead, to get over there and say, what was it like for them, has been invaluable work. So I don't really ever experience being alone. I'm very social, as you know, Michael, and sometimes I hole up here in Juniper Hills for 5 or 6 days at a time. But I found the trick is if you can grant beingness to even inanimate objects, that is like you get that constant discipline of connectedness, whether you're with anybody or not. That's my view. That's what it looks like over here.
Looks like from here. We can never let somebody in or see them as they really are, because they really aren't. They also are a group of coagulated memories. There's nobody there. We want to get to know people, who they really are, but we can't, because neither of us really actually exist. That will assuage the loneliness for a little while, thinking we can let somebody in. They're tricks, they're mind tricks, compensation for loneliness. This aloneness is so profound, so it doesn't have longing anymore. That's gone. Everything is gone. There's nothing left. It sounds nihilistic, but nihilism exists only in a world of things where there are no things. And that's just another idea also. This is different. This is free falling into a vast unknown and knowableness, knowing that no one ever has known or will know what's going on. There's no secrets. There's no meaning. There's no purpose. There is just this objectified perspective of the universe, in which hummingbirds and koi carp and everything flows, everything moves, and well, there's no things to move either. It's just the most sublime emptiness. Some non-dual teachers commit suicide. In a way, this is this is um,
It is the most sincere form of self-criticism.
yeah, that's a contradiction of terms, isn't it? Yeah, what are they killing? This is sublime indifference, sublime emptiness, sublime where everything is beautiful. Everything. A dandelion growing out of asphalt will take your breath away. Love watching a mother try to handle 3 rowdy children in Walmart. You have this tremendous sympathy for her. Your heart goes out to her.
Yeah.
Sometimes as they pass, I'll say, "You're a wonderful mother." And they say, "Oh God, thank you." Oh my God. Oh, I love you, Bill.
I know, Michael. I love you, and I love the way in which you like have this kind of conceptual big holding of aloneness, and yet ontologically how you live your life is as total connection.
You love.
I try to tell people what it's like to be in your presence, that radiation, right? It's just like, So thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Wendy, you have had your hand up.
Hi, Michael. Sorry I'm late. Hope I didn't flash anybody while getting out of the tub. Thought by putting a picture, nobody would see me. But apparently I was wrong. But since the topic is longing, I would like to say that people actually make me feel like a battery that's being drained. And I love to be alone. That is my longing, is to be alone. And it feels the most natural to me. And that's bliss for me. That's heaven. So it hasn't always been that way. When I was younger, I would just had to be the center of attention. But now it's like, please just let me be. I'm good and I like it. So I just want to put my 2 cents out there. Thanks for the invite. And hi, everyone. Now I'll see if I can put my hand down. I'm not sure how to do that. Oh, well, I guess it'll just stay up. You're muted, Michael.
If you see that reactions down 4 icons from the left, if you tap on that, you will see your hand. There you go. Gigi, you had your hand up.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, I get so nervous about talking in groups like this because I feel like I'm supposed to be speaking from some cloud top or something. But everybody's being so wonderfully real, which helps put me at ease. I think everybody in here is me. Let's see, I've heard the AA, I've heard the developmental trauma, I've heard the trauma clearing, I've heard the CPSD, the CPSTD. And my brother died suddenly in April. And I had been doing this, I'm gonna maybe start crying, but I just had been doing so much work to clear the system, to open the channels. And I had this big release session with my brother in the bathroom on the toilet. I think there's a portal in my bathroom. And it's like I just had this huge conversation with him. This is before he died. And I let out all the anger, and I took my power back, and I told him I can't carry your pain for you any longer. This might kill you to carry your own pain body, but it's not mine. And he died suddenly, like a few months later. And a part of me feels like he never existed. That as soon as I was done with the eating, because he was a severe narcissist, and I was his target for decades, and it separated out our whole family and caused a lot of troubles. And it's like as soon as I was done being the victim in that and didn't need it, he vanished. And I do kind of feel like, was he ever even here? Was that all in my mind?
Yeah.
It's like nice to hear you say that. And then the other thing going on is I'm chronically ill, and I've been bedridden for 21 months. And the nature of the illness is that I really have to watch my movements and my energy expenditures, or I'll have a setback. So I call it the stillness illness. And I do feel that it's here for me. I mean, if I want to be awakened, like my life has been stripped away and it's just me. I mean, I have a husband here who's wonderful, but it's fine as long as I'm in my heart. When I get into the mind play about it, then there's suffering. So it's kind of like I have nowhere to go but here. And it's okay. But I'm so glad you guys are here. I have no community in this arena. I have no one in my life that really understands what I'm doing. And it feels really good. It feels really good. And I really appreciate this offering very much.
Thank you. I have chronic illness. The way I've mistreated my body. I'm 80 years old, and I've mistreated my body. I grew up in a hunting, fighting society, and drinking, and the carpenter and cabinetry making, and all the stuff you breathe. And carpenters don't normally live too long. It's too hard on your body. And cowboys don't live longer. It makes life so precious. So every moment it seems lovely. Seems this is all extra time for me. It's time to fall in love with others. It's time to meet people like you that I haven't known before and fall in love. I fall in love all the time, everywhere I go. We had a retail store for years, and I miss talking to people. And I would fall in love 4, 5, 6 times a day. Talk to people on an intimate level. It was wonderful. Now I'm confined to have 2 doctors have told me if I catch COVID, I will die. No question. So we're very careful.
Me too.
But somehow that sharpens the edge. Every morning I wake up and I think, oh my God, I'm still here. And I kind of crawl out of bed, trying to get my muscles moving. And then I go in, and my wife wakes up later, and I make her cocoa, and I comb her hair, and I'm learning how to do fancy ponytails, and I love it. I love those moments. I love every moment. I love being here with you all. I love seeing your faces, seeing your names. I have known Vicky for so long. I just love her to bits. She's on the other side of the world from me. And whenever I see her name, the heart rush, and the memories I have of her, her courage. She had really bad back problems. I don't hope I'm not disclosing anything that she wouldn't want disclosed, but we talked through some of her pain, and I ached for her, and now she feels better, and I'm so happy. The Vicky of me, it really feels like the Vicky part of me. There's a Raja part of me, a Wendy part of me, a Bill part of me. Each one of you become a part of who I am. That's ultimately who I am, is my human acquaintances. There's 3 or 4 people in Wyoming. My parents owned a dude ranch, and a few people would come and remember my name. They'd say, "Hi, Michael." And I just fell in love with them. They looked at me and they talked to me. And I loved them. I had a 4th grade teacher. And when I was in the 4th grade, at that time, battered children were not reported because there wasn't a mandate. But Mr. Lowe, I would sit by myself, and he would come sit with me and talk and share his lunch with me. He was a tall, blonde man and always wore a suit and a tie. He was so kind. Mr. Lowe, I love. We all need a cookie later in our life. When times are terrible, someone who loves us through. Babies will die without someone to hold them. We will atrophy without someone to love us. Doesn't take very much, just enough to get through. A little sip in the desert. Oh, there she is. Look at you. I lost what I was going to say. Raja, you had your hand up.
Yeah. So when we talk about loneliness, it's not that you are that there are no people around you that you feel alone. It's something inside of you that you can't explain. It's just that you do feel that. And sometimes you can be with a whole lot of people and you could still feel alone. It's like that. It's not a lack of company as such, you know. And longing, I suppose we all long for something, for love, or whatever. I don't know if that's the kind of longing people talk about, or whether it's a longing that separation should end, you know. But no, but it's all that we are made up of is this past. It seems like the memories, you know, and memories are so beautiful. But some of them are sad, and they take us back to our past, and then we think about it, and that makes us cry. But then there are those happy memories, you know. But memories are memories. We don't even know for sure if they are true memories. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think about that too, and I think sometimes the people have inserted things into my memory. Like my sister once told me that I was at her wedding and then she was carrying me. And then years later, I carried on thinking I was at that wedding, you know, and she was carrying me. But I don't remember it. But she had put that there, you know. I don't have much faith in memories too. I just wonder if I've made them up, some of them, you know, and whether they're true or whatever. But yeah, I suppose the only longing is that we feel separate. But then at the same time now, I don't feel that separation. I feel like I am everyone. I'm connected somehow at some level, you know. And Yeah, and then you say, why do you feel lonely? It doesn't make sense because there's a whole, so I don't know. So I just think this whole thing confuses me. So when I get confused, but I think about it that at some level we are all connected, whether it's telepathically or whether via empathy or whatever. Like when you feel pain, I feel the pain. So there is like a collective consciousness that seems to be emerging. That's my opinion. I don't know what others feel about that.
Mm.
And that is a good thing. I think I mean, like, there are times like that's the thing. How do you feel lonely when you're connected to someone by thought, you know? So I don't know, but I do feel lonely sometimes. And then I want to curl up and cry for some reason. Then it's all okay again. And then I'm laughing. So, but thanks. Thank you so much. Because some of you really, I saw that you care a lot. I mean, that's us. That's human, to care. And
Mm.
that's the awesome thing about it. The people do care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I don't feel lonely anymore. I have the longing. The longing never goes away. Life is longing, like we were talking about. I don't associate it with things. I don't seek happiness. I don't seek love. The seeking is gone. It stopped that night in Las Vegas. Loneliness remains. Longing remains. Loneliness evaporates. The Surgadata had loneliness, had the longing, not lonely. I keep confusing those two. He had the longing. That's why he got up and talked to people. Ramana had the longing. He talked less as time got by, as time went by. Ramana had this shift in perspective when he was very young. And I tend to think you have to be a full-blown adult. You have to have been to war. You have to have been to hell and back and through hell to be a full-blown adult. And he was a teenager. And he spent most of his life in a stupor. I love the people who have been to war. I love the scars. I love the way they walk and talk, and I love the power that warriors have who have survived the war. Heaven is just the other side of hell. Human beings, when you see pain other human beings have been through, when they share with you their pain, this great open heart, it just embraces them as part of this courageous thing we are, this beautiful survivor that we are. We stand on the shoulders of billions of survivors. We are the genes that came through the Middle Ages and through the Ice Ages and through the deserts of Africa before that. We're the top of the mountain, the creme de la creme. Just look at how beautiful we are. When we start to see the beauty in others, somehow the light. I was walking through Costco not too long ago, and everybody was smiling at me. And I asked my wife, I said, why are people smiling at me? She said, well, you're smiling at them. I said, really? I didn't know it. I was soaking them in. There's a little girl with red curly hair, and I thought, oh my God. Every time I go, I fall in love. We don't go anymore because I miss that very much. I miss that, those moments of intimacy. A little girl. We even have our groceries delivered to our car when we go shopping. And a little girl comes out. She's so sweet and nice. And I said, you are so good at this. You're very kind. I said, you're going to go far in life. And she just started to cry. She said, no one ever told me that. I said, really? And then my heart broke. I thought, why didn't somebody tell this little girl how beautiful, how lovely she was? I don't know. Maybe not when she was even little. I don't know. I shower my grandkids with love. They can't walk by me without me reaching out and holding them. And they know that. Sometimes they'll try to sneak around me. It's turned into a game. My son, I put my head on my forehead, or hit my head on his forehead. And we're quiet for a moment. When he was a little boy, we would shower together because we didn't have hardly any money. So we were trying to save money. So we'd shower together and we'd do this thing underneath the shower and look at each other. And oh, it was so lovely. The times we spent playing, inventing games because we didn't even have electricity. So much fun. Life is so much fun. But those are just memories. And memories are fluid, they change. Each time we recall them, they morph a little. They're colored by our current experience. So we can't even count on our memories. And all we are is memories. So we can't count on anything. Love is the fallback position, though. I have to be careful not to focus on anyone because I somehow, this beauty of, I can see, I think of you as an infant, as a child, as a toddler, as a fourth grade and teenager, and the pain that involves. Life is hard. It's really hard. But there is this love. Somehow when we start, I don't know what happens first. Somehow we see ourselves as the center of love, the gravitational center, out of which the light of the world, of a unique world, emerges. And then when we see that, we see it everywhere. Most of all in people. People are luminous eggs, like Don Juan talked about in Castaneda's books. Radiant beings, high stepping through life. Doesn't last that long. Like, I'm 80 and I still think I'm not 80. But I am. I'm old. I'm an old man. But I love this stage of life. I wouldn't want to live forever. That would be hell. To be confined to a personality forever. No thanks. Scientologists signed a billion-year contract. That's a little too long for me. No, 80 years is about right. I love you people. I didn't record this. I was going to record it and put it on YouTube, but I always forget. Oh, Gigi, did you raise your hand again? You did. Okay. Oh, you're
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I have a really old computer and it starts doing the circles sometimes. I did see that the recording start at the beginning, so it might be recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you, Michael, it looks like it's recording. You are recording it.
It's
somehow.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, too.